Yo, welcome back to another episode of Vass Reacts. We got most legendary superpower fights in anime. Let's get it. I hope this video don't get blocked or copyrighted. Okay, so this right here is a spoiler. I haven't even seen One Piece up to this point.
I've done fight videos. You have those hand-to-hand fight videos and those showcases of power videos, but I felt I've neglected something. And
what
indeed, I have. I've yet to do a video to show some of my favorite superpower fights in anime, so that's what we're going to do today. But hey, watching top superpower fights in anime is a cool thing, but you know what's even cooler? Being able to do so in a browser tailor-made for anime enthusiasts and gamers a lot like us. Introducing today's sponsor, Opera GX. Opera GX is the next-gen evolution of the Opera browser, bringing with it a whole lot of features that we can't wait to get our hands on. You know, stuff that enhances the viewing experience and allows you to import all information from your previous browser with a couple of clicks. Take the leap and download this browser for the next generation through the link in the description box. Be ahead of the pack with Opera GX. Let's kick things off at full power with Shimazaki versus everyone.
Yeah, this was well animated. This was clearly well done.
I've talked about several different mob psycho fights in my videos. Well, not as much as the more mainstream shonen ones because that's what you guys mostly like. Still, how can I stop ranting and raving about mob psycho fights when it features some of the most visually spectacular battles the anime world has given us? I did notice, however, that I've yet to talk about this battle in the series' second season. Shimazaki taking on everyone was a treat to watch. Thanks to the breathtaking animation, you really get the feel of the fight and you get to indulge in the impact of it all. It's one thing to passively show you something, but it's another thing to show Shimazaki's dominance in such a way that you get pulled into it,
and he
following
was
the action.
Everybody, He was fucking all of them up.
If you're up for another showcase of strength, Meliodas versus the Commandments is just the right one.
Sadly, Seven Deadly Sins went downhill after the, I want to say, third season. After the third season, it went downhill. After the Commandment arc, it definitely went downhill, saying something. But this fight, Meliodas versus the Commandment, it was a good fight. I ain't gonna lie, I love that fight, especially when he approached his brother, and he just started slicing shit off, cut his arms, start slicing and cutting each other's shit off.
For you.
Yeah, I was definitely disappointed.
Instead of a fight, this could be more of a Meliodas flex montage when he tries to go one-man army against the entire squad. Doesn't matter what the commanders threw at him, he always found a way to persevere through it all. An awesome-looking answer at that, with him using those attacks as a source of strength, smugly taking them all for him to unleash an even more powerful attack that would surely eradicate all of them. I consider this a legendary moment in the series, a fight to remember, not because of how intense it was, but because it more than represents the theme Seven Deadly Sins has with the whack power levels and endurance of its characters. But the flex isn't all there is to it. We all got our hearts ripped out when Estarossa steps in and puts an end to it. What follows is a moment that will be forever remembered as Meliodas outright dies. Yes, even godlike beings fall, and it happening to the main character who had all the momentum on his side not too long ago was all the more shocking. We move to something recent now and one of the best animated episodes of One Piece.
I haven't seen One Piece up to this point. I haven't seen nothing up to that point. I'm stuck on Marineford, I believe, or Water Lily. I think Water Lily. I haven't seen nothing up to this point. So I don't even know who these characters are. I mean, I hear about them. I know who Luffy is. I know. I hear about the characters, but I don't know that story or nothing. See, who the fuck is this?
With how long One Piece has been going on, it's no surprise that there've been lots of memorable, even legendary fights involved in the world's creative roulette of superpowers. For this video, I want to take something a bit more modern, and I decided on Kaido and Big Mom versus Luffy, Law, Kid, and Zoro. This insanely animated battle is one of the highlights of this arc. It's one of my favorite Gear 4 moments for Luffy. It's also emblematic of the whole crazy, out-of-this-world gimmicks and styles that One Piece boasts. It's an anime bound by no limits, and you see it it with how big of a deal Wano arc has become in terms of production. All of them duked it out, giving their all, showcasing their endurance, tactics, and powers. Yeah, I know this battle is far from over, but watching this scene animated just increased my expectation for the rest of the fight.
I want to say One Piece came so far. Like, that's the thing about One Piece. They actually came so far. From like him being in the barrel to what the hell I'm watching now. It seemed like this anime came very far.
FMA's final battle is here, and deservingly so.
FMA.
FMA's not particularly the flashy superpower type of show. At least, the alchemy and magic isn't the main appeal of it all that brought it such acclaim. But the final showdown with Father does deserve some more love. It basically starts off demonstrating how powerful Father's become. That no matter how many forces combine to form a united front, no matter how many kinds of powers get thrown at him, it's all just meaningless. How do you beat something like this after all? The physical embodiment of a god standing in front of all these humans desperately fighting for survival. However, we soon see cracks opening up, and it leads to one of the most powerful moments in FMA, the final showdown with Ed. The final clash with Ed is something more than a battle. It's a dissection of Father's ideals and representation of his fitting downfall. It's also filled with irony, just like how it's ironic that a fight that features one of the most powerful characters with all the superpowers ends with a good old punch to the chest. It's not quite the showcase of superpowers that you'll probably come to expect from this list, further adding to the irony of things in a meta perspective, but it's the best end to an epic final battle that we can have for FMA. Here's a movie battle for the next entry, Midoriya and Bakugo versus 9.
I haven't seen the movie. I haven't seen this one.
Now, I personally have a lot of positive opinion.
I'm missing out. It's a lot of stuff I haven't been watching, have a lot of stuff I haven't got the chance to see.
It's about the My Hero Academia movies. They're not exactly manga canon, but they find themselves nestled right in between arcs, making some seamless transitions into actual canon material. Anyway, I love the first movie, but I think the second movie, Heroes Rising, isn't talked about as much as it should be. Or maybe I'm just not around the MHA community as much. I'm not even sure whether this climax is a cut above the first ones. Both are equally good, but at least this movie gave us the awesome team-up between Midoriya and Bakugo. It's such a well-done scene, them fighting against 9, with a lot of hype moments, culminating, of course, in Bakugo getting a taste of something he'd always wanted. One for all. The fight against 9 is standard superhero, superpower action, but the finality of it all, Bakugo's character arc somehow finding a sort of conclusion in this movie, that's what makes this one so good. Of course they had to revert to the status quo in the end because it's what an anime movie does, but damn, that was such a sweet scene. The presentation, including the animation, the music, and the voice acting, was all just on point. This is probably one of the best fights in the franchise, including the TV series. We proceed now with Bleach's Ichigo versus Ulquiorra.
Okay, this is a good fight as well. This was definitely a good fight. And he's a peak villain too. I don't know how to pronounce his name, but
if you were to ask me what my favourite fight in the whole Arrancar arc was, it's got to be this one. There are lots of contenders, sure, but could they compare to the build-up and the roller coaster of emotions that this fight took Bleach fans through? I don't think so. Things started out even, and everyone...
Hell no, he's a peak Espada. I'm not gonna lie to you.
It's pretty hyped to see Ichigo and Ulquiorra fight as equals this time. Then, it takes a whole turn for the worse. On and on it goes, drowning even Ichigo and Orihime down the pits of despair, only for hope to come in Ichigo's revival and new form. But something just doesn't feel quite right here. You get what I mean? It follows the usual hyped fight formula, but this is the one fight where the ray of hope that comes in the form of a new protagonist form feels a little bit wrong somehow. It's all thanks to Ichigo's monstrous new form. I wouldn't be surprised if someone comes into the end of the fight blind and thinks that Ichigo's the villain in this fight between two demonic beings with how ruthless he's become. And when Ulquiorra does bite the dust, right as he looks like he's about to start a redemption arc, we're left feeling hollow. No pun intended. Gogeta versus Broly is up next.
This was a good movie. Oh, bro. Dragon Ball Super Broly, one of the best Dragon Ball movies that was ever out to date. I kid you not. This movie made Broly canon. This movie made Super Saiyan Blue Gogeta canon. This movie was one of the best movies that ever existed, bro.
Man, I couldn't wait to talk about this fight. The sheer excitement, the hype, and the eventual collision all made the first Broly movie one of the favorite pieces of Dragon Ball media. It was something special, and we all knew it when we first saw it. Decades later, Gogeta and Broly take on each other again, and they haven't lost a step in 2018. What more can I say about this fight besides the fact that it's one of those fights heavily carried by the hype and the context? There's not a lot of derivatives of the word awesome that you can use to describe this collision of titans, and the new powers from Super up the power scaling even more compared to the two first runs at it. If anything, it showcases Broly's power to the point that Gogeta had to go blue to win, decisively at that. Overall, it's an awesome fight that both long-time and returning Dragon Ball fans have got to see.
That one definitely takes the cake, bro. I'm not even gonna kid you.
Superpowers mixed with a lot of martial arts? How about Yuji and Todo versus Hanami next? The first real test for a newly formed bond, the stakes being as high as they can towards the climax of the fight. There's a lot of things that make this fight so much hype. But it more than lived up to it thanks to fight choreography that's out of this world. Each phase of the battle was masterfully presented, and it felt awesome to see Yuji and Todo put that fresh chemistry into work as they team up to take on what's the toughest enemy they've faced so far. Their techniques meshing proved to be a match for Hanami, and for most of the duration of the fight, it seems that things could go either way. However, there's one factor that turns the tides, a factor that the characters may not have remembered thanks to the heat of the battle. The one and only Gojo. Our favourite mentor makes an appearance towards the end, joining the fight in the only way he can, by revealing a new astonishing technique that easily defeats Hanami. I feel that a lot of people don't remember this as much as the first domain training session moment, but Hollow Purple easily ranks as one of Gojo's best moments. If I were to pick a battle in the Fate series, I think that Shiro and Raida versus Saber Ultra takes the cake. At some point in the back of my head, I still love the two UBW fights to death. Shiro versus Gil was one of the most satisfying final fights in anime that I've ever watched, especially coming off Fate Zero. Meanwhile, the fight versus Archer with Last Stardust served...
And it's sad, I call myself an anime fan, and I don't know where the fuck I'm at and like what I'm watching. I call myself an anime fan, but I'm not watching anime like that. Like, what is going on?
Shiro's coronation, and still gives me goosebumps thinking about it. However, we're here talking about superpowered fights, and there's no better representation of the flash and fireworks of the mainline Fate series than the one in the final Heaven's Feel movie. This is nothing short of what we'd expect from Ufotable's Fate. Epic post-production effects, a lot of flashes, and quick, frantic action that our mortal eyes struggle to follow. All of these combine to elevate a battle to the next level, to drive home the point of how cataclysmic everything is. It's something we won't last a second in, and the presentation more than sends that message home. At the end of it all, this battle didn't even end up being the true final fight of the movie. I do think it's fitting, however. While the previous two routes showcase a lot more fights, Heaven's Feel is just a more muted and profound experience. It's not the fights that grip us in this series of movies, but the more philosophical questions that they throw at us. Lastly, what better way to top it all off than with Naruto versus Sasuke?
Okay. This fight make me so emotional. Naruto and Sasuke hold a special place in my heart. Naruto and Sasuke is my all-time favorite characters. I personally prefer Sasuke, but any Shippuden fight, it makes me cry. I can't cry without watching Shippuden for some reason. I tear up watching Shippuden, no matter what it is. This is like one of the best animes out ever, and I stand by that. Especially this fight. This is a peak fight. I kid you.
Best and most legendary fight in all of anime? I mean, it's not exactly something that even I would boldly proclaim, especially with the number of amazing fights we've covered so far. Seriously, something like the fight right before this could have beat it in terms of fireworks, but in terms of choreography, we also have a couple of ones who could make a case too, like the Jujutsu Kaisen one. Heck, even with Naruto there are contenders too. However, what Naruto versus Sasuke has compared to them all is the build-up. This is the fight that's literally over a decade in the making. The fight to end all fights in Naruto. Everyone knew it was going to happen, but the whole thing surrounding it, the storyline, the fighters peaking just at the right time, and the stakes, It makes it one fight that Naruto fans deserve, and all the two needed to do was to put on a show and make the decade-long wait worth it. And they sure did. A long-standing rivalry that stood the test of world-ending threats finally concluded in an intense battle of powers and ideals, and it ended in the best possible way. A tactical draw on the physical side of things, but a clear victor in the battle of ideals. The right person won, and it's such a great conclusion to a legendary series.
I remember they had ads going around in like subways and showing the final fight. They were saying Naruto versus Sasuke final fight. Like, it was ads going around everywhere. And I think New York, Japan, I seen one in Maryland. Yeah, they were just promoting the final fight. This was because it was the final fight between Naruto and Sasuke, which was going to be legendary. It's one of the best fights.
That concludes my list. I was thinking of ranking them at first, but I decided against it because how can we really rank these equally amazing fights? They all have their own cases to be the best fights in their own ways, and I think it's better if I just let you rank them yourself. Say, how would you do it?
Naruto and Sasuke fight number one,
you want to add to the
always,
list? I'd love to hear
day.
from your thoughts in the comment section. That, or you could drop by the channel's social media too. Discord, Instagram, Patreon, come on, you know the drill. All the links are in the description box to give you easier access. And don't forget to check out Opera GX browser through the link in the description box. Download it free of charge, and it opens up a whole new window of possibilities. Thank you.
Well, that was, I want to say VT, that was VT with most legendary superpower fights in anime. You already know, Naruto and Sasuke. I think this list was great. This was a top tier list. I don't blame you. The Fate fight before that, the second all-time fight, the most legendary superpower fights. The Fate fight, that animation was clean as hell. But yeah, I agree with this list. I most definitely agree with this list. So if y'all have anything for me to watch, any more reaction requests, leave them down in the comments. Like, comment, subscribe, do what y'all want to do. See y'all next time.